Big news is on the way. 2 brand new sales shows and 2 classic shows are returning to the experience this week. Sign up for our mailing list to learn more. To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey. And behind every page, there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
What's up, the internet? It's Kyle. How's it going? Welcome into In Stores this week. I will be joined momentarily by the one, the only, you saw him earlier, Dan Wickline. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night at 5 Eastern for the Dan Wickline Show, which is his new show here on The Experience. Here he is. Dan.
Hola.
I was concerned you fell asleep.
Oh, I thought about it, but nope. I'm here. I'm good.
I ate pizza and drank an energy drink, so I'm here too.
I get pizza after the show, so.
Nice. Well, it's still early there.
Yeah. So the pizza did just arrive, and I have to wait.
Show, dude.
I'm sorry, what?
Congratulations on the new show.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope it wasn't too meandering for an hour.
I didn't think so, but people seem to like it, so we're good with it.
Good.
So
now I just got to figure out what I'll talk about tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what news happens. You can't make the news happen. You got to let it happen.
No. Speaking of news, this just happened. I don't know if this was on your show or not, but actor Norman Lloyd passed away at the age.
I did not see that.
At the age of 106.
Norman Lloyd.
Yep, he is
from St. Elsewhere.
Yes, from St. Elsewhere. He starred in Saboteur for Alfred Hitchcock all the way back in 1942, and he was in the movie Trainwreck in 2015. Was his last role with Amy Schumer. Amy Schumer, yeah. So that's a long career.
Yeah.
That's like his first role was in 1939. That's 76 years of active working.
Well, 106 years is a long time to do anything, including live. So I'm going to give him credit. If I live to be 106, I'm going to give my business partner permission to shoot me in the head or something, because I do not want to live to be 106.
Well, it depends. I mean, Bucky's supposed to be 106, and he looks good.
Yeah, but I already look worse than Bucky. Although Bucky and I are similarly skeletal, we both have metal parts, Bucky's still a lot better off than I am. I'm just saying. So
fair enough.
Speaking of the future, though.
Yes.
The first book this week is a book we thought we were done with, a series we thought we were done with, Future State Gotham.
Yep. That was a lovely segue, by the way. I'm sure that is why you get paid the big bucks, isn't it?
Yeah, it's why I could afford a pizza.
There you go.
But guys, if you read the Future State books, you know that they take place in kind of this awkward time, somewhere in the future, but we're not sure how far in the future. And that Future State was kind of the new version of Crisis on Infinite Earths. You had the magistrate who was out there killing anybody who wore a mask because it was illegal to wear a mask and superheroes wear masks and you don't want them. And that series set up the current Infinite Frontier. So it was, you had Rebirth, then you had Future State, and then you had Rebirth here, then you had Future State way over here, and then somewhere back in here is Infinite Frontier.
I'm now picturing that you know that picture of the guy from Always Sunny with all the whiteboard and all the murder board thing put up with
yes.
That Future State's over here, and then
that's exactly what it is. But this is a Bat Family story, written by my dude Josh Williamson. With also written by Dennis Culver, art by Giannis Milino-Giannis.
It does appear he has his last name, his first name in his last name.
Yes, it's true. So basically, this is the beginning of the epic story, Hunt the Batman. Disaster strikes Gotham City, and all evidence points to the next Batman. Red Hood must choose justice over his family and allies when the corrupt magistrate enlists him to bring the new Batman in, dead or alive. Featuring the entire cast from the Future State Batman titles. This is a new series that's also black and white art-wise.
Yes.
So it's a little more your traditional Batman black and white style. But it's a very brutal style of art as well. It's the most Walking Dead DC art has ever felt to me.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. I like the design for the Batman there.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's a good look. It's futuristic looking because this is supposed to take place in the future, but it's pretty minimalist as well. You know it's Red Hood. Yeah. You know it's the future Batman. You know it's all of these things that you're looking for without having to have it spelled out for you. The bat is almost understated on the chest.
Yeah.
It just looks like a big red rectangle with a little bit of bat shape to it. So,
yeah, it's nice design.
I like it.
And it stands out. You definitely know that this is Future State. I mean, besides the logo, it's got its own unique look.
It's true. So, do we want to stick with DC?
Yeah, let's knock them out while we're here.
Huh?
Yeah, let's knock through them while we're here.
All right. Well, we'll stick with even the Bat theme.
Right.
Batman the Detectives #2. Yeah.
Tom Taylor, Adam Kubert, and Sandra Hope.
Andy Kubert.
Yeah. What did I say?
Adam.
There's an Adam Kubert, isn't there, as well?
No.
I thought there was 2 Kuberts.
I only see one Kubert. But I will say this. Are the Kuberts interchangeable? Like, yeah, really?
Joe's got 2 sons.
With the exception of Joe. With the exception of Joe, aren't they pretty much interchangeable?
No, I don't think they'd think so.
No, but they're all amazing artists. So no matter which one you choose, you're going to get a great art out of it.
JD's backing me up. There is an Adam Kubert.
Oh, there is an Adam Kubert, but not on this book.
No, yes. This is Andy Kubert. Right. So about this book, this is Batman's European adventure. This is like, Batman's Euro trip. As the mysterious around the organization known as Equilibrium deepens, just who are the enigmatic villains and why are they out to erase the Dark Knight's legacy? And how does Henry Ducard play into all of this? Now, I always love the Henry Ducard, but it always reminds me of Batman Begins.
Yes.
Yeah. The first issue of the series will reach comics with an updated name. Okay, yeah. So they did change. They updated the name to Batman the Detective. where I'm not sure what the first one was listed at originally, but
This is Batman Detective.
Yeah. So this is Batman the Detective, and that's the thing is this series is focusing on his abilities as a detective. You know, Batman's got so many different things he does, but his detective work has always been where he started. I mean, he debuted in Detective Comics, so they're kind of taken back to that Batman, the Sherlock Holmes version of Batman. So. I really
now when it's French Batman, is it Sherlock Batman?
No, never.
That's a Flash reference.
I know, and I'm ignoring it.
I understand, but Sherlock is my favorite Wells. I'm just saying, throwing that out there.
Yeah, he was a good Wells.
No, I have a bunch of jokes about Batman and European Vacation, like. Has the beer garden waitress shown him her boobs yet? Like all of those things. Has he gotten lost in a roundabout? Like all of these things. But the reality is whenever Batman leaves Gotham and goes to Europe, insanity follows.
Yeah.
Including the one time a French dude got to be Batman. Like Jean-Paul Vallée.
I hadn't thought about it that way, but yeah. But that took place.
There's always some insanity that happens when Batman leaves Gotham.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine the kind of insanity he's going to find, especially if Henri Ducard is there.
Yeah.
So
Steve Niles did a Batman series a few years ago. Might have been more than a few. That took place in the suburbs of Gotham, and I love that idea because there were no tall buildings for him to, stand on and brood over and stuff. He was in the suburbs. So anytime he leaves Gotham, you kind of it's like Spider-Man in a rural area. It's like, what does he swing on,
Right. It doesn't really work. Batman not being in Gotham doesn't really work.
Yeah. I mean, at least Batman's got a car. Poor Spider-Man. He has to take the bus. And where does he keep his
probably safer. I mean, right. Where does he keep? Ooh, that's a good question. All right, out there on the internet, where does Peter Parker keep the change in that costume? Where indeed? That's a good question.
Yeah, I'd have a compartment in the shoe, in the heel of but he's got a
shoe.
Yeah, but doesn't he have to Doesn't for his powers he has to be able to touch the walls, so his feet have to. So they have to be kind of porous, don't they?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that works. I've not really given that a whole lot of thought. I just think it's like some stuff that they'd come up with and Get Smart.
And sometimes they show him where he's just kind of leaning against a building and he's like, doing something with his hands. Does that mean his butt's sticking to the wall?
I don't know. I think it's more of a static electricity thing.
So he has to rub his butt against the wall to stay.
Yes.
Okay.
We've gone round the bend.
Oh, absolutely. Remember, this is my second show today, and your second show, technically. Sixth?
Fourth. Tuesdays are busy days for the Kyle, but that doesn't mean I didn't have time to look at the previews of Justice League Last Ride #1, which ironically is not the Justice League joining the Fast and the Furious cast. Although at this point, they're all that's left that isn't a part of that cast.
Yep.
Once the most powerful group in the world, the Justice League was destroyed by tragedy and time, disbanding under a veil of mistrust and anger. Now on the eve of the universe's greatest murder trial, the League must come together one last time. But can Superman and Batman bury the past before the cosmos' greatest villains bury them? And what's the deal with Wonder Woman being like Wakanda forever on the cover? Like, I don't understand. Learn the shocking truth in this new digital-first adventure, which I hate, by Chip Zdarsky and Miguel Madonica, or Madoncha.
Madonna.
Guys, this book,
Mendonca?
Mendonca? I think so. Or Mendoncha? Something like that. Anyhow, guys, this was a digital-first book, which means it already came out digitally, and now it's hitting comic book stores. I'm not a big fan of this digital first mentality that DC has with some of this stuff, which is why I didn't read this book already. I waited and I'll read it traditionally. I did look at the previews, so I knew what I was talking about. But the thing about the digital first books is that they are a great way to test out a new series if it's something you think you might not like. And because this is only a mini, I don't think it's as bad as, other digital first things that they're doing. But still, it's worth looking up.
And it's Chip Zdarsky.
Yes, it is Chipper.
So, yeah, in Wonder Woman does that as well, and I think she actually did it around the same time in her movie.
Yeah.
So it's not quite stealing.
Wakanda for now.
Wakanda for now.
Yeah. Well, it's I always made the joke that if this is Wakanda forever, the Stormtrooper salute is Wakanda for now. But
you need to start making that joke.
Huh?
You said you always make that joke. Stop.
I'll continue to make it because Stormtroopers are bad people.
True.
But Wonder Woman, I don't know. Is she cold? Maybe is she pulling her cape up because she's cold? I don't understand. Somebody figure this out by reading this book.
I think it's angsty. She's trying to be angsty.
Oh, okay. She's an angsty teenager.
Yes.
Except that she's a demigod who's not a teenager at all.
No.
But speaking of angsty,
the Joker. Yeah, Sam Johns.
he doesn't seem to have any angst at all.
No.
He's being hunted by Gordon. Like he's the number one most wanted person in the world, and he's like, I'll be at the beach.
Yeah. And those floaty things never work well. I don't know how he got it going.
It's probably full of, what is that, a laughing gas? The Joker's laughing gas?
Oh, yeah, Joker gas.
Yeah, which is lighter than air.
That would be interesting. That way, if they shoot at him, he'll use his last laugh on them. The gas comes out. Yeah. Yep.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, Gordon's hunting him, which I like. I like the fact that it's a Gordon story and not a Batman chasing him. And in remote parts of South America, so Gordon's down in South America trying to hunt down a lead and comes face to face with the Joker himself. The mystery around a day deepens, and not before an attack by the bloodthirsty Samson family. Also, you get Punchline in this story. And she's hanging out with Orca, who I believe is like the female shark.
Well, but Orca is like hanging out with the Queen of Spades.
Right. Oh, okay.
And Punchline is somehow against the Queen of Spades.
Yeah. And you got Bluebird's looking into Punchline. This needs another one of those murder board things.
Right. This is one of those that the backup story is like the Kevin Bacon game of supervillains. It's 1 degree of it's 1 degree of any supervillain in the DC universe, really.
Yeah. They got their new copy of the big Who's Who compendium. They just flip it up and go, hey, Orca's going to be in this week's story.
I've often wondered if in some of these backup stories, and I know that artists write them, or creators write them and draw them because, I'd love to tell a story with this character that doesn't get enough time or that I haven't seen in a while. But sometimes I think there are guys that sit in an office with all the characters written on the wall and just throw darts at it. And whatever they hit is what they write.
I would love if DC or Marvel or one of these big companies did a book called The Hat, and they literally had a hat, and they would throw writers' names in there, artists' names in, and then they pull a writer, they pull an artist, they pull a main character, a villain, and a rough plot, and then they send it and go, here you go to work.
So Skybound Games makes a game, and I can't remember the name of it, but basically you're a movie.
Yeah, it's right behind me. Pitch Storm.
Yeah. Pitch Storm, thank you.
Yeah.
But it's basically that premise, right? You draw random cards and you make up your story, and then you've got to pitch it. And then your friends are playing other cards, messing with you, going, well, I see that's a romantic comedy, but can you put ninjas in it?
Yes. Notes,
Great game.
Yeah, I played that with my nephew and a friend, and that was a lot of fun.
Those are games that are great, like at Comic-Con, at the after party, you're just sitting at a table, you know, and anybody can jump in or out and play around. We did that with their game Super Fight.
Yeah.
One night we're sitting at the table at C2E2 and we're playing, and we're actually having the who would win, Batman or Goku debate. And who walks by but Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. And so I wave him over and go, who would win? And Scott Snyder looks me dead in the eye and goes, whoever I picked, because I'm writing it.
Yep.
I'm going, well, that's a definitive answer, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, being the writer of the series is a definite auto win.
Yeah. Though a little better way of answering that would be, which company is paying me to do the story?
Yeah, it's true. Scotty Young is really good at that game, by the way.
I can imagine.
He's just twisted enough. So we have one last DC book this week.
Yes.
And it's a book that I'm very excited about because we get to talk about a thing that we're doing here on the Experience as well.
That's why I put it on my list. I figured it was a good tie together.
Yep. Unfortunately, somebody's on there. Okay. Whew. We're good. I got worried when I started looking at the list, but this is DC Festival of Heroes, the Asian superhero celebration, written by Greg Pak, Jean Luen Yang, Amy Chu, our friend Ram V, Alyssa Wong, Minna Lee, and Dustin Wen. Art by Dustin Wen, Bernard Chang, Francis Maniple, Marcus Toe, Marcio Takara, Trung Lee Wen, Jim Lee, Stanley Art Germ Lau. It's a heavy hitters row. But before we get to this, I'm gonna do a thing real quick and talk to you guys here on the Experience. We are celebrating Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month this month with an event at the end of the month that is being put together by writer on the book we're just about to talk about, Amy Chu. Her and our friend Ming Chen are putting together a great group of Asian American and Pacific Islanders from the comic book industry to celebrate their heritage and to celebrate their work in the comic book industry. Stay tuned for more details. Join our mailing list over at comicshoppingexperience.com. I fixed the website so you don't have to scroll that far. It's right at the top now, where you can sign up for our mailing list and get information. More announcements about that coming very soon. All right. Now that I've done the job, let's talk about the book.
I love this idea. I love the whole thing. The solicitation read to me as a little problematic in that first sentence.
Grab your favorite boba and pull up a chair to the dim sum table as we celebrate Asian Heritage Month with all your favorite Asian DC characters, old and new.
So why do they got to go stereotypical when they're describing the...
Well, beyond that, the problem is now I want boba.
I've never had boba.
I'll be honest. I don't like traditional boba. I'm kind of weird. I like everything but the tapioca. Everything but the thing that makes it boba. Otherwise, it's just tea. But no, it's the first problem is the first sentence is a little bit of a problem. So we're gonna ignore that. We're gonna move on past it and say join Cassandra Cain, Katana, Green Lantern, Tai Pham, the Atom, Donna Tan, aka Batman Beyond, Red Arrow, Lady Shiva, Damian Wayne, and the Al Ghul clan, the new Superman, and more as we present new tales of these characters and their thrilling history. Plus, Cheshire Cat's relationship to Cheshire is revealed as Shoes asks Selena Kyle to take her under her wing as Catgirl, and that's just the start. It's a 100-page issue for $10, celebrating Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month from DC. I mean, tune in for more announcements about our event. It's going to be awesome. There are some big names we're hoping to get on, and as well as some indie creators you've maybe never heard of that you should have. All put together by the legend Amy Chu.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's a cool looking cover too.
It is a cool looking cover. This regular cover is by Jim Lee, with variants by Art Germ, and there's also a Monkey Prince variant that's a tie into their other thing they're doing.
Right.
But there we go. Where do you want to head next, Dan? We got about 5 minutes before the break.
Let me hop over and let's talk Red Sonja, the Superpowers, number 5.
I was thinking that's where you were going. Red Sonja and the Superpowers. Look at that cover.
Yeah. Now, this is the final issue of the series. This ties into the Vampirella, the Dark Powers as well. This is Dan Abnett and Jonathan Lau. I've read this issue, and it is pretty much just an awesome fight between Red Sonja and Vampirella. That's what's cool about this issue. They're setting up the finale in the other book is going to wrap it up. I believe it's going to lead into another story. I don't know that for sure, but this issue is a lot of fun, and that's the best way I could describe it. This is both Sonja and Vampirella are being recruited by these group that guard the multiverse, and they're being kind of checked out to see if they want to be or if they're good to take care of planets, protect planets. But at this point, Vampirella is accused of destroying a planet, and they said Red Sonja after to bring her down. So that's what this issue is. This has been an amazingly fun series. Abnett has been nailing it in both this and the Vampirella book. And this is just, like I said, a lot of fun. It's a giant fight. Jonathan Lau does a great job with the artwork. And I recommend it. I think it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Lucio Perillo cover.
Yes. Though there's also a...
there's also Jonathan Lau, Joseph Michael Linsner, Kano, a Lee Ferguson, a Sergio Fernandez, and a Jung Gwen Yoon cover.
Yeah. Linsner fans should be just paying. He is cranking out some amazing covers lately for Red Sonja and for just a lot of the books. He does like 4 or 5 covers a month for Dynamite, and they're all gorgeous. Yeah, I think he's really hitting his stride on these books. So if you are a Linsner fan, you can definitely be picking these up.
And they really are in that style that he's known for, with the muscles and the curves and all of that kind of stuff. So make sure you check that one out.
Yep.
All right. We have 2 minutes left, so I want to talk about real quick, and we can move on from it. This is Hank Howard, Pizza Detective in Caligula's Safe. This is from Bad Idea Comics. So basically the premise of this book, if you haven't heard, is that Hank Howard is hired by a pizza company to be their detective. Why do they need a detective? You're not quite sure. But at the end of the day, there's a safe that's been broken into. It's called Caligula's Safe. Why has it been broken into and what was in it? We don't know. This is a one-shot from Bad Idea that is only available tomorrow. Whatever doesn't sell tomorrow has to get shipped back to Bad Idea. It's $1 a book. It's a super fun little idea from them. Written by Robert Vendetti from Tankers and David Lapham on art. I got to read you this solicitation. It's awesome. Hank Howard, Pizza Detective.
The character looks like he's straight out of the 1970s.
Right, he looks like a cop, and I can't think of who it is. He looks
Dennis
like
McLeod, or it's McLeod.
Yes.
Dennis Weaver.
Yeah, yes, Dennis Weaver. Thank you. That was making me nuts. Hank Howard, Pizza Detective and Caligula Safe by Robert Vendetti of Tankers and David Lapham of the Hero Trade. Available for takeout and delivery at Bad Idea Destination Stores May 12th, but only for 24 hours. Is coming with a big heap of pineapple to go with the pepperoni.
They just want to be controversial. I don't know which is more controversial, the one-day sale or pineapple on the pizza.
Yeah. Well, but I like I said, I don't know what the deal was with retailers. I don't know if they sent this book to them for free. You know what the deal is, but everybody I've talked with is that it's anybody who I know who's doing Bad Idea is outpacing everything else. Their book sales are higher, their pre-orders are higher. And most stores that do Bad Idea books, what they're doing is because your order for number 1 of a story arc, or the first book in a story arc, is your order for every other book in that story arc. So if you order 20 copies of the beginning of a story arc, you get 20 copies for the rest of the story arc. Is they're saying if you want it, you can get it, but you've got to order the whole story arc and pay for it up front. So I did that. I ordered every Bad Idea book from Miss Jen at Space Cadets. And so when the first 4 volumes of books of ENIAC are out, she's just going to ship them to me. When the first 4 Tankers are out, she's just going to ship them to me. When the first 4 Whalesvilles are out, she's going to ship them to me. Done. I don't have to think about remembering to add it to my pull list. She doesn't have to remember to order it. It takes a lot of the work out for the customer and the retailer. And all I had to do was pay up front for it. Mm-hmm. Super simple. And this is kind of a thank you for their success, but it's also a marketing thing. So Bad Idea does things different than everybody else, and it's paying off so far. I see that JD Smith asked what the idea was, and I just think it's to do something off the wall and crazy, but also something that'll have upside for retailers that you might not expect. So,
and it gets people to talk about them, and that's the number one thing you want is to get attention. And if you're doing crazy things like a one-day comic, or where you're not going through regular distribution, you only go to certain shops. This is getting people's attention if you're creating a demand for your books. So I don't know how well it's going to work. It seems to be working pretty well. Does it have legs? We'll see.
And remember, Bad Idea is Dinesh Chandamashi, Adam Freeman, and a bunch of guys that were there at the relaunch of Valiant. That kind of built Valiant into what it has become.
Yeah.
So there's it's not like they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. So no, I think it's really interesting. It's definitely a business idea and they're breaking all the norms, and it'll be interesting to see how it all works out. I'm hoping for it. I like the national news over there. So
absolutely. All right, guys. Well, it's that time where we have to take a quick break. So we'll be back in about 2 minutes here on The Experience.
Hi, I'm Robert Vendetti, professional comic book writer, and I want you to know about the new Bad Idea comic book series, Tankers. As the world well knows, I'm what's called a method writer. That means before I begin a project, I don't just study the material, So to take a deep dive into the subject, I came to the one place on Earth where I can operate mechanized combat equipment, dig for oil, and shoot dinosaurs. XT, baby! I'm down to the tank! No oil yet? Every second of my immersive research experience guarantees that Tankers is unlike anything you've read from me before. I should know. I've read everything I've ever written. Tankers is about a crack team of mercenaries and mech suits who work for Greenleaf Oil. They get sent back in time to divert the comet that killed the dinosaurs. More dinosaurs in the past means more oil in the present. Who doesn't love that? And with a superstar art team providing breathtaking covers and interiors, Tankers is an action-fueled thrill ride of human versus dinosaur warfare that we can't wait for you to read. So go ahead, order Tankers today. I guarantee I'll be glad you did. As for me, I'll be finishing off these dinosaurs. Extinction Day.
What's up, the internet? It's Kyle. We're back here on In Stores this week, only on the experience. If you could please do us a huge favor, click like, click subscribe, click the bell. All right, wherever you're at, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, click that bell, and do me the biggest favor of all. Okay, hit share. Put this up on your social medias. Tell your friends. Tell everybody, tell your enemies, all of that kind of stuff. Tell everybody, because the more people who show up, the more fun we have. Right? It's pretty simple. The more people who are here to debate whether or not bad idea is a good idea or not, is the more fun we'll have. So if you could do that for us, that would be great. And then remember, tomorrow at 5 Eastern, 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Mountain, 2 p.m. Arizona, and on the West Coast, Dan will be back with episode 2 of the Dan Wickline Show. I'm putting you over.
Hey. Yeah, we had our first episode tonight, and we talked about the Venom movie, the upcoming sequel, along with the original and how it's somewhat underrated for what it is. So had fun talking about that. Also, the castings for the Knives Out sequel of both Dave Bautista and Ed Norton. He definitely seems to want to keep that idea of getting a Marvel actor into the movie.
Knives Out 2, still stabbing.
Yep. Definitely better than the Benoit Blanc murder mysteries.
Yeah, that's fair. Is that what that's based on?
No, but his name is Benoit Blanc.
Yeah, that's not a good name. Speaking of not a good name, X-Core #1.
X-Core, yeah. Because we need.
You know why it's not a good name?
Why?
Because when you sent it to me as it being on your list, you sent it to me as X-Crop. A lot of people are going to get spell checked on it. They're going to get auto-corrected real hard on this one. Because not everybody's phone is going to expect them to type core.
I'm looking at my list and it says X-Crop. You're right. So.
Yep. Like I said, that's my big hang up on this one. Everything else about it has got me rolling. I mean, it's written by Trini Howard. Alberto Foch is the artist. It's part of that Hickman verse.
Yeah.
Clayton Coles is lettering. Like Clayton Coles is lettering every book. I'm relatively sure he letters every book that comes out.
Could be. Yeah, it does. There definitely seem to be going for that Madman / Glengarry Glen Ross feel. You can tell that by the opening of the solicitation with Krakoa is for closers, which is basically a line from Glengarry Glen Ross, which coffee is for closers.
Ice cream is for winners.
Yeah, something like that. So, and the fact that we're seeing guys in, Angel and I don't know who the other character is in suits on the top corner there.
Well, I'm going to show you in just a second.
Okay.
Because one of our favorite artists did an amazing. Well, I don't know that this is who it is, but did this cover with Angel and Wolverine. Hey, bub, you're wearing a suit, right? Yes, but this is a comic book. You're supposed to be wearing a costume. This is my costume for a comic book. Yes. Bub, a suit can't be your costume unless you're in a book about assets and stocks and other finance stuff. Like I said, this is my costume. Oh, yeah. Now let's talk about grooming and your lack of it.
All right, that was pretty funny. So yeah, this is corporate X-Men basically here. You know, I mean that's X Corp stands for is X Corporation, headed by Monet St. Croix and Warren Worthington. And we know Warren's got money. I mean, his daddy was rich. There's that whole thing going on. And the duo are cutthroat and ruthless in the boardroom, as they are on the battlefield. But X Corp needs more than just its figureheads, as Monet sets out to staff their team with some of the brightest and most deviant minds in mutant kind. Warren finds himself in a tense meeting with one of Krakoa's first allies, who wants to know the truth. On Angel's wings, will X Corp crash or soar? So, yeah, this is basically X-Mad Men.
It's how to succeed in business without really mutating.
Good, good.
Because the Brotherhood of Mutants, the Brotherhood of Man. I'm a musical theater nerd.
Death of a Mutant Salesman.
That one hurt. That one's sad. Now I'm sad. But it's true. This is, if the X-Men worried about their finances, this is what that book would be. So,
because
I don't know.
The Falcon was denied a bank loan.
Well, the Falcon and everybody else. I've been through that. Like everybody else, if you're in comic books, you're not getting a loan. That's not how that works.
Right.
So, especially if you're a character in the comic books. Whoo! So, we will see. But in the meantime, we're going to head over to somebody who's a little bit more stable and less.
You went away. See, he clicked himself off, and now I think he's back, but I can't hear him. That means I need to leave and come back. So I'm going to do that.
Yes. Yes, I clicked the wrong button, made myself look like an idiot, which isn't really that hard. My business partner's here. She'll tell you. I usually look like an idiot. It's pretty normal for me. I'm back. I clicked the wrong button.
Yeah, I know. And you clicked the wrong button. That means I got to leave and come back. And we got to get this.
You really got to fix your computer.
We do.
But
Absolutely.
Amazing Spider-Man, giant size Amazing Spider-Man #1, King's Ransom.
Yes.
Does the Spider-Man have to pay the ransom? Also, it's King's Ransom conclusion. How is it a conclusion in a #1? Nick Spencer, are you playing with the timeline again?
He absolutely is. Yeah, and it says everything comes down to this. Again, first issue.
Yes, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey Nick Spencer is wibbly wobbly, timey wimeying.
But the
Spider-Man.
solicitation does tell you that Kingpin's quest violates all natural law. So the fact that this is a #1, out the window. Because whatever Kingpin's doing, that's causing the problem right there.
See, this is the thing. I think they should start with #10 and work backwards. So next issue is #9, #8, #7. That's all I'm saying. I think, but I do believe it's a one-shot. This is continued from Amazing Spider-Man 65 and continued in Amazing Spider-Man 66, which I think are both out already.
Maybe.
So it happens in the middle of two books that are already out.
Yep.
I don't look. Kingpin, Spider-Man, Boomerang, Randy Robertson, Beetle, Kingpin, Spider-Man, Boomerang.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the new Konami code. That is the code to this book. And there is just a David Baldeon cover. That's really cool looking. That I'm trying to load up for you. It is the 1 in 25 variant. So, your stores are going to be charging a premium for it if they have it at all. But it's really cool looking. So I want to share it.
You should have ordered 25 copies and you would have got it. That is a cool cover.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, you never see Spider-Man from that angle.
No. Definitely not. That is a really cool cover. See, I'd like that just as a poster.
I would as well. Take the trade dress off and just give me that on my wall and I'm in.
Yeah. Absolutely. I could put it right here.
Yeah.
Marvel, if you guys want to send me one like that, I will put it up, and that could be here for the Dan Wickline show every day.
Yes. Or send him some stuff with insider knowledge about Loki. That's all we're saying.
Yes, that would be good too. Yeah, I'm going to need something for the wall here for Loki. So,
yeah, I can't think of anything. So we have a character that we haven't seen in a while in the Marvel Universe back this week in the new series that explores what happened if Cap never got unfrozen, if a great many things never happened the way they happened. This is Heroes Reborn, Hyperion and the Imperial Guard, #1.
Yep. This is a friend of mine, actually, Ryan Cady, Michelle Bandini, and Stephanie Byrne. What's funny is that we got 2 Marvel books this week, Ryan Cady and Teeny Howard, and the 3 of us were working on Top Cow stuff at the same time. So it's nice to see both of them made it to Marvel. We have Marvel. What about me, man? But this is Teenage Hyperion's cosmic quest with his Shi'ar friends near their end, but none of the young heroes are ready to say farewell. A quick mission in the negative zone sounds like a perfect coda to a storied friendship or fellowship. But what awaits Hyperion, Gladiator, and the rest of is a horror and agony beyond their wildest nightmares. Also included in this issue, a special previews of the spin-off series, The Starjammers. So yeah, they're pulling out
Not the Starjammers.
Yes, The Starjammers.
Oh.
That was the one with Corsair as the leader, right?
It was. It's also the book that got John Romita Jr. off of the X-Men and onto the new universe. And he's still salty about it. But
I remember the new universe when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
I actually kind of liked it.
No, I think he's just angry that he couldn't do both. Like they wouldn't let him do both. He's like, I love doing it, but I still wanted to do the X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's like, yeah, if your last name starts with R and ends with Omida, they should let you do whatever you want, I would think, but that was not the case at the time.
Yep. No, this is cool to see the Shi'ar, the Imperial Guard back, Gladiator. There was always some great characters there. They popped up a few times in the X-Men, but they never really got a lot of time.
Yeah.
And mix him with Hyperion is kind of interesting because both Gladiator and Hyperion are kind of Superman clones, you know? They're that similar power source. So to see them working together is kind of the same feel as Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes.
Yes.
Which is kind of what I think they're doing with the feel of this.
Right. I also think this is a super fun way to kind of be like, hey, the characters don't exist the way they exist in this story. Heroes Reborn. Cap's still in the ice. The Avengers never assembled. They remain dissembled. All of those things. So all of a sudden, these other characters are having to step up and fill those voids.
Yeah.
As it were. And you know who we haven't seen that would be perfect for this? Void.
Yeah. Sentry and Void. Though it's not mentioned in the solicitation, you can tell by the cover that's the Brood.
Mm-hmm.
That's Marvel's version of the Xenomorphs. So that's
is this how they're going to tie Alien into the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the Marvel Universe?
I'm waiting for them just to do an X-Men Aliens story using the Brood War story, but substituting in the Xenomorphs. Then you can combine the two things seamlessly. Because Byrne used the Xenomorphs as the guide for the Brood anyway.
It's true.
So
it's true. But also from the Heroes Reborn story this week, we have Peter Parker, the Amazing Shutterbug.
This is Jimmy Olsen, Superman's pal, is what they're doing here. Basically, Marvel says if we didn't have the Avengers, we'd be DC, is what Hero Reborn is telling us. You know, Mark Bernardin, who, if you're not familiar with Mark's work, you probably know him from the Kevin Smith's podcast, the Fat Man podcast.
Fat Man on Batman.
Batman on Batman, because Mark is the co-host on that. Rafael De La Torre is the artist. Peter Parker is a huge Hyperion fan, a la Jimmy Olsen and Superman. And he also just happens to be chummy with his favorite hero, thanks to a photography gig at the Daily Bugle. Surely nothing can go wrong with his camera and him in the heart of the action, right? So yeah, this is basically Jimmy Olsen's pal, or Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen. And for those of you who don't take that comic series, the old comic series seriously, that was the first book Jack Kirby did when he went over to DC. That was the book he asked for, was Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen, before creating the Fourth World, and it tied into all the Fourth World stuff.
Mm-hmm. Inks on this book are by friend of the experience, Scott Hanna. Mike McCune cover. Variant by Greg Land. So yeah, I like this. I'm liking this so far. I'm liking the whole Heroes Reborn concept so far. You know, I like finding the heroes in a different situation than we're used to them being in.
Yeah.
It kind of gives it a little bit of a different vibe across the board.
Yeah, like I said, you're finding them in the DC universe.
Yeah, no, pretty much.
Yep.
Speaking of not the DC universe, though,
mm-hmm.
Star Wars High Republic #5.
Oh, I am loving this series. I've got the first 4 issues sitting right next to me here. These are absolutely wonderful books. Kevin Scott, the artwork on it by Ario Anindito is great. It's probably some of the best Star Wars art I've seen in a long time. And we're kind of moving into a new phase with the book, where they've been investigating the fallout from, if you've read the novel Light of the Jedi, fallout from that stuff, and the setup of Starlight Beacon. But now we're moving into basically a war with the Hutts. So the Hutts are attacking the Jedi. You've got Gamorreans, you got Nikto, you got Rancors, and all this stuff is going on. Plus, you've got the sub-story, the character on there holding the Trandoshan. The woman there is Keeve Trennis, who just became a Jedi Knight. That is her master Skier, and he's been holding the secret for the whole series so far. And this is where she's supposed to figure out what it is. Now, will we find out? But she finds out here, and hopefully we move that story along too. Skier is probably my favorite character so far in the series, but then I'm a huge Trandoshan fan, so a Trandoshan Jedi I am all for. And like I said, this since The Mandalorian has been my new favorite Star Wars stuff, the High Republic stuff. So Mandalorian's still up here, but the High Republic has been really, really fun. Yeah.
I had to mute myself for a second. My headphones went out. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the Trandoshans as well. Of this whole kind of concept of other people that were involved in the movement, as it were. Other people who are involved in the Jedi lifestyle and that kind of thing, being involved in the universe again. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a strong play on the part of Disney and Marvel to tell those stories. I will say this: there was some scuttlebutt about an unreleased novel from the Star Wars universe that was what would now be considered a non-canon Legends novel that was released on Amazon without anybody's permission, that sold more copies in the short time it was on Amazon before it was taken down than any of the recent Star Wars novels.
Really?
So the fervor for the not quite what you'd expect Star Wars stories are really high.
Yeah. So what was, I haven't heard about this, but what was it that made it so attractive?
Just it was an unpublished novel. It was an unpublished story. It was something that hadn't been, been there before. So.
Well, I like the Trandoshans because they're kind of, what's a good way to describe? They're basically the Klingons of the Star Wars universe. They worship a god called the Scorekeeper, and they're all about killing. And how you pay homage to the god, the god, the Scorekeeper, is killing. And how does that work with being a Jedi? I mean, a Sith Trandoshan would be awesome and straight. I mean, would make a lot of sense. But to actually have a Trandoshan Jedi, that you're going against Creed, you're going against basically everything that this character knows. And I just find that absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like Worf on the Enterprise,
Doesn't quite fit in.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite act the way you expect them to act. It's a good story to tell.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
And he didn't get a lot of love in the novel, The Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule.
Right.
But he's definitely getting the love here in the comic series.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, it's a great series. I'm really enjoying it so far. So we've got about 2 minutes before we have to take our next break.
Okay.
So I wanted to hit a couple of my little indie favorites.
Please be my
here. Nope. This is You Promised Me Darkness, number 2 of 4 from Behemoth Comics.
About this when the first issue came out.
Yes. The thing you guys need to know is that Behemoth Comics is struggling with the success that they're having. They've completely expanded beyond their business model. Good problem to have, but also struggle. So a lot of times books are hitting stores over the course of a couple weeks rather than necessarily on the release schedule. So bear with your stores, bear with Behemoth. They're doing the best they can. But this is the story of Yuko and Sebastian, who are two siblings who have special abilities that were granted to them the last time Halley's Comet passed Earth. And they're constantly on the run from an evil villain known as the Anti-Everything, who won't stop until he feasts on them. So, yay, cannibalism. A peculiar it's believed that this encounter, if this Anti-Everything ever catches them, could bring about the end of the world. But Yuko and Sebastian won't be alone in their battle. as a mysterious group will soon arrive to their aid. So it's one of those books that kind of looks at how religions start and that kind of belief system. So, that is You Promised Me Darkness #2.
Our Yay Cannibalism t-shirts will be available next week on the Experience website. So look for them in the merchandise area.
Yay Cannibalism. All right. Well, it's that time where we have to take another quick break. When we come back, though, we will be talking about the other book that's out from Behemoth this week that I'm excited about, as well as some other indies, and digging in deep on maybe on some Doctor Who. So we'll be back in just a couple minutes. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is In Stores. This week, I am Kyle. The person leaving is Amanda. She is my business partner. She says hi.
Hi.
And we will be rejoined momentarily by the Dan Wickline, who has 2 new shows here on The Experience. I'm going to have him tell you about them when he gets back. Dan, do me a favor. I need to step away for just a second.
All right.
Would you tell everybody about the Dan Wickline show and Pop Goes the Writers and tell them what all that's about and where they can find it here on The Experience?
I would be happy to. Well, first thing, Pop Go the Writers is a podcast I've been doing for a few months now, and it's now going to be airing here on The Experience. They will be airing at 4:00 on Saturdays. Now, usually that's an hour and a half to 2 hour show, depending on how talkative we are. It's myself and comic writer Paul Story. And we have various guests, including Ray Anthony Height came in on one time, Jim Beard, Tom Hodges. And we talk about, normally we're following whatever the big TV show is, like The Mandalorian, WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we'll be covering Loki. So that's what Pop Go the Writers is. It's basically a group of writers sitting down and talking about the latest pop culture info stuff going on from a writer's point of view. So that airs Sunday on my YouTube channel, and then it's over here the following Saturday So if you want to watch it live, or if you want to catch a rebroadcast here on Saturdays. Now, my new series starting today is called The Dan Wickline Show. And I'm going to basically be taking a deep dive into whatever the latest news is. Today, I talked about the Venom trailer that dropped, why the movie itself was better than critics thought it was, the casting of Dave Bautista and Ed Norton on Knives Out sequel, those kind of things. We do about an hour. And I talk and interact with the fans and viewers and stuff. And we'll do that 3 times a week, twice at 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. That'll be on Tuesday and then on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we do it, but we do it at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, I use Pacific times first because, well, I'm on the West Coast. But that's what the Dan Wickline Show is. We'll have guests at some point. We've got our first guest lined up for Wednesday of next week. So if you're a fan of James Bond, we will be talking to Alan Porter and his wife, who are the co-authors of the new James Bond lexicon, which you can get on Amazon. And we'll be talking all things James Bond and how his thoughts on the different actors who have portrayed the character, their adaptations from the original Ian Fleming novels, and even how Dynamite has been doing with their series of novels and stuff, or comics, including the adaptation of the Casino Royale novel, their current series, James Bond, Agent of Spectre by Christos Gage, that stuff too. So that's what the Dan Wickline Show is going to be. It's going to grow over time, but it's going to be at least 3 times a week, maybe expand out as we go. And that's that. I see Kyle.
I'm back.
And I
had to walk Amanda out. My business partner was here working on the studio, and so I had to walk her out.
Okay.
But we promised before the break that we would talk about the other book that's out from Behemoth Comics this week.
Yes.
Which is a book that I have been real high on since well before it came out. Paranormal Hitman number 4. Guys, this is Ghostbusters meets The Sopranos, but it's getting bloodier and bloodier, creepier and creepier, more out there than ever. The battle between Alfonso Carboni and the Paranormal Hitman comes to an end in the afterlife. Will the Hitmen come out victorious, or will they find a permanent residency in the afterlife? Bum, bum, bum. This is what would happen if, the mob was involved in demon slaying, essentially, and ghost hunting. Maybe not the guys you want doing that particular job, but here we are.
I don't know. They seem to be good at it. They're
It's
good
true.
at making things go away. And so,
I'm gonna make him an offer that he can't refuse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm gonna make him an offer to go into the light.
I don't know. But this book has been so much fun. Brett Murphy and Wilson Gandolfo have done just a great job on this book. And I've been really, really impressed with it. Everything Behemoth has been coming out with recently has been really, really impressive to me. They're one of my publishers to watch for the next couple of years, to see kind of what they do. I think they've got a lot going for them.
I think they should be publishers to read, to watch. I mean,
well,
don't watch them. Damn, buy the books. This is always my favorite part of the show, when I get him to have that look on his face.
Nick tries to make dad jokes all the time and on the show, and I just go, and he's like, come on, you got to laugh. It was funny. Even if I'm laughing inside, even if I'm busting a gut inside, because it's Nick, I got to go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you can
I'm the Undertaker to his Crowd XTV.
Good night.
Codex TV.
Good to see everybody. Thank you.
All right, that'll do it for us.
That's right.
Codex TV has won the evening. I know that joke, and every time it makes me laugh. So I'm in. But Dan, let's talk. We also teased this guy.
Yes.
Missy.
I do love the Doctor Who franchise. I used to watch them all the way back when Tom Baker, they showed him on a public PBS over here.
PBS.
Yeah, PBS, Tom Baker stuff. So when the series was relaunched and I watched Christopher Eccleston and then David Tennant and Matt Smith, I was really enjoying it. I love all the Doctors. Missy is so unique. The Master has always been the best villain. You can keep your Daleks, you can keep your Cybermen. The Master has always been the one. And this series is to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Master. And they're doing this unique graphic novel starring Missy, the first female Master. Now, that trumps the first female Doctor. The Master became a female during the I can't think of the actors, Peter Capaldi run. Mm-hmm. So now this is Missy's up to her old tricks. By this time, she's not alone. How will the Doctor survive? Yeah. All right. So he's a Doctor Who fan himself.
Make a good Dalek.
So how will the Doctor survive this latest maniacal plot in the special story celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Master? Features the 3rd and 12th Doctors battling their iconic nemesis. So the 3rd is John Pertwee, father of actor Sean Pertwee, who was Alfred on Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
So you got the 3rd Doctor, who was kind of the James Bond of he was the action Doctor. And then the Peter Capaldi Doctor, battling their iconic nemesis, and keep your eyes open for other Time Lords.
So here's the thing, right? So those aren't the only 2 Doctors to have dealt with the Master, though.
No, I think just all of them get a turn with the Master. Matt Smith,
just about all of them.
Yeah, I don't think Matt Smith's Doctor
Matt
ever.
Smith did not.
No, nor did
and. Neither did Eccleston, and neither did Jodie Foster, or not Jodie Foster, Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah, but she's still there's still a chance.
She's done. I think the next season is her last season.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, she's announced that she is that she's going to move on. She would like to move on. They're going to move on.
How? Okay, just throw this out there. This is how I would handle the recasting of the Doctor. This has been my idea.
Idris Elba?
Doesn't matter who you get.
Daniel Craig?
You get the biggest, most outlandish name possible, and you get the person you want. Mm-hmm. You announce the outlandish person, and you let him be the Doctor or her be the Doctor or whatever for about 10 minutes.
Yes.
Kill them immediately. Then you bring in the Doctor you want. You end all the speculation and stuff. You shock the hell out of fans, and you get a new Doctor.
Although the rumor is that the next Doctor will be Christopher Eccleston.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yes.
Yeah,
he had signed on. So the story goes that Russell T Davies, who was the original showrunner when it came back,
right,
wanted David Tennant. For the Doctor, but David Tennant had just signed a giant deal with Royal Shakespeare to be Hamlet, and he couldn't get out of the contract. And so he had to spend a year doing Hamlet, and at the same time, Eccleston had G.I. Joe coming up on his horizon, so they knew they only had him for a year. So it's one of those things is that he fit perfectly to do this job. But that he always wanted to do more, and that the BBC always wanted him to do more, but it just was a matter of timing. So now here's the chance, because the Doctor always picks a face from his past.
Yes.
Who's to say he can't pick a face he's already had?
True. Yeah, I mean, Peter Capaldi was in Fires of Pompeii,
Mm-hmm.
so makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And Eccleston is currently doing the audiobooks for
Mhm.
Big Finish. I just saw him interviewed.
So good.
Yeah. So I would love to see him come back. I think, I love Christopher Eccleston. He's the one that got me back into it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well,
David,
Peter Capaldi, what Peter Capaldi is also famous for.
being in a band with Craig Ferguson.
Yes, he was the lead singer of the Dream Boys with drummer
Uh-huh.
Craig Ferguson.
Yes.
You know why they broke up?
Too many drugs?
No. Nina from the Velvet Underground
Uh-huh.
hired Craig Ferguson as her drummer.
I did not know that part.
Yeah, they broke up because Craigie Ferg got a better offer.
Ferguson's a huge Doctor Who fan.
He
and
is.
It blew my mind that they never got him on the show when Capaldi was the Doctor.
Yet. There could always be a Christmas special
True.
or something.
True. I've actually got a friend who is friends with Stephen Moffat, and I kept telling her, "You've got to tell Stephen he's got to get Craig Ferguson on the show. It's even if it's just a simple walk by, there needs to be that moment where they're on the screen together." But
The Doctor's in a comedy club and Craig Ferguson's on stage.
yeah. By the way, Craig
I mean,
Ferguson as the Doctor would be brilliant.
New pick. That's my new pick.
Mhm.
Scottish Doctor.
Craig Ferguson as the Doctor.
Somebody start a change.com petition. I will sign it. It's a thing. But no, as you can tell, I'm a big Doctor Who fan.
Yeah. You
I've
should
got shelves over here. Part of what we were decorating is we were putting out my pop collection, and I have every Dalek they've ever made.
Nice.
I've
I've got the
I have most of the TARDISes.
I've got and I've got Captain Jack.
John Barrowman.
Yeah, John Barrowman.
I don't actually have any of the Doctors, believe it or not. But I have K9, I have Cybermen, I have all the Daleks they've ever made. I've got some retro 70s Doctor Who toys. I'm a big Doctor Who fan.
You should come out to LA in February when they do Gallifrey over by the airport. It's a small convention in that it's in a tiny little space, but you get all these big names and you get a chance to hang out with them at the bar and all this other stuff. It is awesome. I've been there a few times.
Yeah, no, I've done Chicago TARDIS. There's a Doctor Who convention in New York that I've done, and there's one in Toronto that I want to go to, but I've not been. But I want to come out to Gallifrey as well. That always sounds like a good time. But I was gonna say that what's his name? Peter Sim, David Sim.
It's not ringing.
Who was the master during David Tennant's run?
Yeah, I know who you're talking
John
about.
Sim?
The blonde guy. Well, originally it was Derek Jacobi, and then he transferred into
John Sim.
John. Yeah, it's John. Yeah.
Is my favorite master. Missy is my second favorite because she always seemed more maniacal.
Yeah.
She always seemed more like she was down to just absolutely murder you. Whereas John Sim always seemed more like he wanted to make you want to die as opposed to, you know what I mean? Like she seemed more evil. He seemed more psychologically torturous.
Yeah, I can see that. I lean towards Jacobi just because I'm a huge Derek Jacobi fan.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I mean one of my top 10 movies of all time is Dead Again with Kenneth Branagh, Derek Jacobi, Emma Thompson, and Andy Garcia. That is just such a brilliant movie. So yeah, he's but I also like the old school masters. I like Anthony Ainley and Roger Delgado, and I'm even kind of a fan of Eric Roberts' take on it. The Eighth Doctor. I got a chance to chat with him at Gallifrey one year. The guy is just a sweetheart, you know. Can't think. Now I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Who?
The Eighth Doctor.
Paul McGann.
Paul McGann, yeah.
Who is my favorite Doctor.
Yep. I'm with you on that. He was
very good, and he inherited an untenable situation as the Doctor, and did a great job with it. Even though a lot of people don't like him, I can see, I look at it and I say, this is a guy who did the best with a bad situation.
I think a lot of people didn't like the idea of being an American movie, but I think he got a lot of redemption in fans' eyes with The Day of the Doctor, that short he did that transformed him into the War Doctor. And I think he got a lot of love out of that. And that's part of what I talked to him about, is this resurgence of love that he was getting for Doctor Who again. He's one of 4 brothers who are actors. And there is actually a movie out there where all 4 brothers are in it.
Yes, I did know that, actually. But that's just because I'm one of those guys that it's like, oh, I really like this actor. Let me learn all about him.
Yep. This may be the longest we've talked about any Titan comic. By the way, it's by Jody Hauser and Robert Ingranata.
Yeah, we maybe should talk about the book itself. But yeah, it's a celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Master. Like, you can't go wrong.
Yep. Plus, that's a cool cover. I love that cover. Missy just staring down at the head of a Cyberman with a little lipstick mark on there,
and it's got the other half of the skull, which is the silence in the library.
Yes.
So, for those of you who don't know what the hell we're talking about, go watch Doctor Who. It's available on Amazon Prime.
Yep. Start with the Christopher Eccleston one. First episode, just start there.
If you're watching with a small child, start with Matt Smith, and then go back.
Start with Christopher Eccleston. Just put the kid to bed first.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you want to watch with your kids, I always tell people, start with Matt Smith, get them introduced to what the Doctor is and what Doctor Who is, and then you can always go back. Matt Smith, I think, is a little bit better for the younger viewers.
Yes, but Christopher Eccleston is a better Doctor.
Is amazing. Yeah, he's a better Doctor for sure.
Yeah.
But he's a little dark. The thing where everybody's turning into mannequins, it's a little creepy.
Yeah. Just his introduction of, I'm the Doctor, run like hell. I was hooked at that line. That line.
I'm gonna tell everybody something rather personal. I got really into Doctor Who because of Eccleston, but the end of the Rose Tyler run.
Mm-hmm.
The first episode, she goes, "My name is Rose Tyler, and this is how I die." I turned the TV off and had to go to therapy and get my mind right before I could watch that episode because it had me all tore up.
Oh, wow.
Because I was so invested in the characters. That's how good the writing was those first few seasons. Is you're so invested in these characters that to see any of them leave, which is an inevitability if you know anything about Doctor Who, is just too much to bear.
Yeah. And you at least for me, you emotionally impress upon the series. So for again, getting too personal, but when I was married, my mother-in-law passed away while she was on hospice at home. We had just stepped out to take a break. My wife and I were watching The Girl in the Mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And we're about halfway through when the nurse walked out and said that she had passed. So that kind of folds together now. And that episode, which is an amazing episode, it's a Stephen Moffat episode. Moffat probably has written the best episodes, not as the showrunner, but when he was just working with Russell Davies. And that just will always be associated now with Sheila's passing. And
and if you need another reason, the current showrunner is also the showrunner on Sherlock. Mark, what's his name?
No, Chris Chibnall has been.
Chris Chibnall is the lead writer, but the showrunner, producer.
Chris Chibnall's been the showrunner since the female doctor came on. They came on together.
I think but I'd have to look up exactly what his title is.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy who runs Sherlock is in charge of Doctor Who.
Mark Gatiss?
Yes.
Okay.
He may just be the executive producer.
Yeah.
But he's in charge of Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
And so you know the kind of quality we're getting at. That's the whole point.
Yes.
So back to comic books.
I don't think either one of us realized the other was that big a Doctor Who fan.
No. Huge Doctor Who fan. It's actually on my list of tattoos. Like, I need to get a Dalek tattooed on my calf. So,
all right.
It's just one of those things. Is the series means a lot to me. It came to me at a really weird time in my life, and it got me through a lot, and it helped me work out a lot. And it's one of those things. It's a comfort blanket, safety blanket. You know,
I have heard that from so many people. That is more of a common thing that I hear from Doctor Who fans. Is, like I said, there's an emotional impression on the show that helps people through things.
Right. I mean, I got into it, believe it or not, at the urging of Nerdist. Chris.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Chris Hardwick.
Yes, Chris Hardwick. At the urging of Chris Hardwick. You know, and it's one of those things that it hit me at just the right time and just the right way, and he was right to suggest it. And ever since then, it's been a huge part of my life. So, all right. Other books.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about from IDW, Sea of Sorrows, number 5. Guys, you know when we get into when I'm 5 issues into a series, and I'm still talking to you about it, then it must be a pretty good series. Sea of Sorrows has been incredible. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it because we've been talking about Doctor Who for a half an hour. But just know that go out, get 1 through 4, read number 5, be prepared to have nightmares for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm queuing up. I'm queuing something up here. Give me just a second here. And we'll talk about. We had two books from Boom Studios this week. One of them is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, number 25.
Yes. This is a good jumping on point. If you're a Buffy fan, but you haven't been reading the comics and you're looking to a place to jump in, this is a new story arc. This is going to be, they're saying this is going to be the biggest Buffy story of the century. The truth about Buffy, the Scooby Gang, and their very existence is revealed in this jaw-dropping anniversary issue. But what is their connection to, and how does it connect to? Every answer only leads to more questions. Yep, that's a really badly written synopsis, but because it seems like they missed out a part. But yeah, this is gonna, like I said, this is supposed to be introducing their biggest bad ever, and it's one you never saw coming. So maybe Giles has turned; he's gonna start killing everybody.
Maybe
it's Jeremy Lambert, it's Jordi Belair, and if, like I said, if you are a fan of Buffy, this is a great jumping in point. Yeah, it's been a long time since Buffy's been on the air, but it's been going well in these comic stuff.
It's true. There are a lot of series, and Boom has a lot of series like this, where it's the series may have ended earlier than you would have liked, or ended just on time. I think Buffy ended at the right time. But the stories, there was still more hunger for more stories, and they've done a really great job of representing the stories and telling the stories properly in the comics.
Yeah. Well, there's certain characters and stuff, and Buffy's one of them, that's created to do multiple stories. And because it's based on what they do. She's a slayer, so we continue with her until she's dead or no longer slain. You can make more stories.
Sure.
There are some shows that it doesn't make sense to keep going on, like how long they drug out How I Met Your Mother. It's like you did meet her,
Or the
right?
fact that the series MASH went
Longer than the
three
Korean War.
times longer than the actual Korean War.
Yeah. That was a case of the show was just so damn good.
Yeah, I will never say a bad thing about MASH ever. But that story went on way longer than the actual thing it was based on.
Yep. Little did we know they were telling us each day of the Korean War.
It's true. All right. Dan, did you have any other books on your list that we needed to talk about other than the Image books?
Black
save
Hammer.
Image for last.
I had Black Hammer.
Black Hammer.
Mariko Tamaki and Diego Orlortegui.
Oh, I have no idea.
So Mariko and Diego got together. So the Eisner Award-winning writer and her superstar Marvel collaborator team up once again for a truly unusual Black Hammer issue that moves our heroes away from the farm to a bizarre setting that's a cross of gothic soap opera and space opera. Mariko, of course, is from The One Summer. Diego works on X-23. You got colors by Dave Stewart. And then you got a variant cover by Christina Chung and Patricia Martin. If you're a Black Hammer fan, you're already buying this book. If you're not a Black Hammer, you should be buying this book. This is Black Hammer Visions. It's the 4th issue. And again, you got this great new creative team coming in, just having fun.
And it's a gothic space soap.
Yes. You okay there? You were like holding your chest. You're going to have a heart attack on air?
I'm trying to figure out what a gothic space opera gothic soap opera mixed with a space opera is. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm going, this book got me shook just in that part of the description. Because I'm going, what?
Dark Shadows meets Star Wars. So Barnabas is actually Darth Vader.
You know, that's not the direction my brain immediately went, which probably says more about me than anything. I'm going, Barnabas is Luke Skywalker?
You could go that route too. Just makes
probably says more about me than anything, but yeah.
That the vampire is the hero to you. I see.
Well, Barnabas Collins was kind of the hero of that show.
True.
All right. Black Hammer. All right. So from Mad Cave, we have Nottingham #3, which again we've been talking about this book since before it came out. Yep. It's a book which has we missed a boom book.
We missed a boom book?
Proctor Valley Road. #3. Written by taker of fine African tree drugs, Grant Morrison. With Alex Child and Naomi Franquiz. The girls from the original story, like, they've been found out. They're told they need to stay out of trouble, stay away from the haunted road. But a stolen police car leads to the return of the Proctor Valley Bull and more danger than anyone could imagine. Look, you see it right there on the cover. That's the thing that has been causing us trouble this whole time. Why would you mess with that? Like, what would possess you to mess with that? Also, don't steal cop cars. Just don't. And then if you were going to steal a cop car, don't mess with that. Like, I shouldn't need to explain this to you, the internet. But Grant Morrison wants you to read about it, and you should, because this book has been fire. All right.
Makes me think of Harper Valley PTA every time I see the damn title, though. Am I dating myself now? You don't get that?
No, but now I'm gonna have that song stuck in my head.
Okay. You're an old soul, I got to tell you, because you get references that are way older than you.
I identify as a geriatric. I identify as octogenarian.
Mm-hmm. I identify as Jerry Orbach, so it's completely different. But
I'm sorry. Oh, I love Jerry Orbach.
Me too.
One of the greatest song and dance men of all time. That spent his later years solving homicides with Jesse L. Martin, another great song and dance man.
Yep.
They
should have done a musical episode.
I'm gonna write Dick Wolf an angry letter now.
Yeah, I would.
Not that he'll care, but still gonna happen. Okay.
Cop Rock.
So back to
Cop Rock.
Cop Rock. So I do a fair amount of community theater, and my audition song is one of Jesse L. Martin's songs from Rent. It has been for years.
Yeah.
I recently replaced it with one of Jesse L. Martin's songs from The Flash, from the musical episode, that had Victor Garber in it, and
the one where they're singing about their child.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's my audition song now.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, but back to Mad Cave Studios and Nottingham. So remember, guys, Dan and I are going to need a minute to recover from the Jerry Orbach joke.
Now I just keep thinking of Robin Hood Men in Tights with Nottingham.
We're men in tights. We roam around the forest looking for fights. We're men in tights. So, guys, the Sheriff of Nottingham in this book has found the traitor in his midst and is stalking them through the darkness of Sherwood Forest before they can get away. The chase will bring Ev, who is our sheriff, face to face with a troubling figure from his past. With the Nottingham Guard distracted, Hood and the merry men plot their next move. Guys, this is Robin Hood turned up to 11. The knob is snapped off. You can't slow it down. You can't change direction. It is what it is, and it's dark. I love this book. This is my favorite book coming out right now.
Yeah, it looks fun.
But before we move on to Image, which features my second favorite book coming out right now, and what could potentially be my third, believe it or not, I wanted to mention Silver City from Aftershock Comics. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Aftershock, only because I love Aftershock books and I work for Aftershock just a little. So Silver City, I'll be honest, I just got my preview copy today, so I haven't had a chance to read it, but it's by Olivia Quartero Briggs and Luca Merrill on art. When a young roughneck lands in Silver City, the gritty purgatorial metropolis of the afterlife, she must adapt to her new existence while attempting to uncover how and why she died. Her mission is derailed, however, when she rescues a newly dead girl from a mysterious kidnapping attempt and discovers powerful kinetic abilities. Welcome to Silver City, where the sun never rises and nothing ever changes until now.
Dun dun dun.
Right, I had to get the ellipses in there.
That's what the dun 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 is. Dun dun dun. It's the ellipses, the three dots of the ellipses.
And I'm going to share with you guys, there's a variant for this book. That's the Eric Hurd wraparound variant. Let me load this up here so you can see it. It's a super fun cover. Let me find it here and load it up.
Isn't that the cover of the Beastie Boys album?
Yeah. Also, it's a homage to an Eminem record too. But super fun cover.
Yeah.
Silver City from Aftershock. Don't miss out. All right. So we've got about 20 minutes and we've got 3 books left.
Stretch.
Well, So what we'll do is we'll go through these books, and then we'll talk about any trades or anything else that's interesting, or stuff that's coming out next week. Kind of a little preview of next week. We'll start with this guy, which is Geiger number 2. Scott Snyder, or Jeff Johns, Gary Frank. Jeff Johns, Gary Frank. Jeff Johns.
I am sure Scott Snyder has read this book.
Yes, Scott Snyder likes this book. I apologize for mixing up Jeff Johns and Scott Snyder for a second there. So if you don't remember, this is a story of a guy who, during a nuclear holocaust, sent his family underground and stayed above ground. And something happened to him. He has become Geiger. And it's they found it out in the atomic wasteland, a relic from before the war. What is it? A tool to bring back hope to humanity, or a weapon to finish what the bomb started? Depends on who gets it. The casino warlords of Las Vegas, or the man called Geiger. Dude's got radioactive superpowers and a megalith weapon.
Do you think he can count really well?
He'd have to, because he's called Geiger. And that's what a Geiger counter does.
That's right.
Parts per million, so he's got to be able to work with multiple decimal places.
Which would be really good if you're counting in Vegas.
Ooh.
So it turns out he's called Geiger because he's really good at counting cards.
Yeah, he's a math whiz.
Yes. The glowy thing is just a distraction.
Yes. Yes. But again, it's Jeff Johns, it's Gary Frank. You've got variants this time from Brian Hitch.
Always good.
Mahmoud Arsar.
Nice.
And I want Brad Anderson.
Cool. That's Jeff calling in favors.
Yeah, also Gary Frank, probably.
Yeah.
Those guys know everybody. So check this one out. This issue 1 was really fun, even though it doesn't sound like it. Issue 2 has the same bones. A book I was really excited about when it came out. I'm still really excited about because, Dan, I think you'll even get behind this one. The first issue of Silver Coin was about a rock band who was trying to get famous.
Right.
And when they encountered the silver coin and used it to play guitar, crazy things happened and they became super famous. But at what cost? Because the silver coin doesn't do you favors for nothing.
Yeah, your classic
issue
story.
Mm-hmm. Issue 2, written by Kelly Thompson with art by Michael Walsh. Part 2 of The Legend of the Silver Coin, set in 1993. Classic Mean Girls bully a misfit teen in an idyllic summer camp. When the teen reclaims her power after a violent encounter with the silver coin, what follows is the stuff of horror movie legend. So this is Crisis at Blood Lake, or really any of those camp horror movies.
Right.
But set with the silver coin.
All right. So the silver coin is kind of the trope or the MacGuffin that connects all these stories together.
It is the through line, yes. Remember, guys, this is an anthology series. So issue 1 was by Chip Zdarsky with Michael Walsh art. Issue 2 is Kelly Thompson. Issue 3 is Ed Brisson. Issue 4 is Jeff Lemire.
Nice.
All of them with Michael Walsh on art. But the thing that brings the anthology together is the silver coin. So make sure you check this one out. And if you come across a silver coin laying on the ground and it's not just like a dime or a quarter or a nickel, maybe leave it alone.
Or take it to a coin shop immediately and sell it and get rid of it.
I wouldn't even do that because you never know what's going to happen with this particular coin.
Fair enough.
I am loving the cover though, and the B cover. I'm going to share with you the B cover. The B cover's bananas.
Yeah, the A cover is kind of Hannibal-ish. Kind of like
Yeah.
Hannibal.
Yeah, I can see that. This is the B cover. Oh no. What just happened? It didn't load. Here it goes.
Oh, nice. It's kind of trippy.
Yeah, super trippy.
Yep.
Check out the silver coin. Okay. The last book on any of our lists this week, I think, is my pick of the week.
I love
written by.
I love the concept of this book.
Yes. Written by friend of the experience, Declan Shelvey, whose accent is the best because he's Irish. This is Time Before Time by Declan Shelvey. Art by
Joe Palmer.
Joe Palmer. Yes. Co-written with Maury McConville, who is another one of that Irish group that includes Declan, and he's doing Betty Page for Dynamite, and Stephen Mooney. And, there's a whole group of guys over there in Ireland that are kind of buddies, and they all kind of share and work together. But this is Time Before Time. The premise of this one is that in the future, time travel is not so abnormal, but that it's controlled pretty heavily by the mob, essentially. And that for a high price, basically all of your stuff or all of your money, they will transport you back in time to a better life. If you think, oh, I would have been much better off in the 50s, they'll take you there. After working for the syndicate for years, Tatsuro and Oscar decide to steal one of their boss's time machines, but soon find out that the one thing you can't run from is your past. It's an ongoing series from Declan Shelvey, who did Bog Bodies. And it's the rest of the team, Rory McConville and Joe Palmer, who did Write It in Blood. The elevator pitch is it's Looper meets Saga in this double-sized debut issue, or extra-sized debut issue, still for only $3.99. You have a John Paul Leone variant as well for this book. Dan, if you could travel through time, what time would you go to?
Oh, I think 1939.
Very specific year.
Pick up a copy of Action Comics #1, Detective Comics #27, then come back.
Good logic. You're going with the Biff from... basically Biff from Back to the Future logic. Do it for profit.
Or on a personal level, there's a few points in my life I'd like to go back and go, don't do that. So
yeah, that's kind of my thinking.
Yeah.
If I knew then what I know now, that's what I would do. So I would only go back for the last 33 years or so. In terms of trades that come out this week that are worth noting on my list, Firefly, Blue Sun Rising, Volume 2. There's a new reissue of Dreaming Eagles, which is Garth Ennis and Simon Colby from Aftershock. Dreaming Eagles is one of the first books I read from Aftershock, really got me into it. It's Garth Ennis telling a World War II story. Because, of course, he is. It's what Garth does.
Yep.
Super fun. Barbalian Red Planet from Dark Horse. It's a Jeff Lemire story. And Richard Stark's Parker, the Martini edition, Last Call,
Nice.
from IDW. It's one of those weird books that most people don't know anything about, but I just absolutely love the hell out of.
Oh, Parker's a great character.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And it's that the whole book is that 3 colors, white, blue, and black, watercolor art.
yeah.
Super fun.
Yeah. And Richard Starkey is maybe mainly known for his lettering, but the work he's been doing on Elephant Man and, through comic stuff, he's a great writer, and people should be paying much more attention to him if they haven't.
Yeah. Next week, though,
Yeah.
some previews to look for next week.
Hit him.
Hmm?
Tell him.
I'm working on it. It's not loading. I'm pulling up my list for next week here. Some things to be looking for starting next week. From DC Comics, you get a new Wonder Girl series.
Cool.
And Legends of the Dark Knight #1 from DC. The Immortal Hulk, Time of the Monsters #1. A new Shang-Chi story from Marvel.
Timely. Good.
TMNT, The Best of Splinter.
Okay.
Red Shift from Scout, which is very good. Betty Page and
We can hear the wheels turning.
APOCATEQUIL. Apocaquil's Ring?
Oh, it's Apothequaddle, something like that.
Apothequaddle? I'm gonna have to read it. I gotta find out what it is. From Dynamite.
It's an Aztecian thing.
And then from Scout Comics, Scoot Comics imprint, you have Misadventures #1. Those are some #1s that are coming out next week to be on the lookout for. Other stuff that might be worth looking at, we will talk about next week. So everybody, make sure you tune in tomorrow for the Dan Wickline Show.
Yes. There's a good chance I am going to be talking about this. A series that's currently running, The Black Knight. There's issue 1 and 2. And basically some history on the Black. That's what I'm tentatively planning right now. Talking about the Black Knight, how he's going to tie into the upcoming Eternals movie, and the history of the character, and what Simon Spurrier and Sergio Davila are doing with the new series.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I'm looking at for tomorrow. Also to see whatever the latest headlines is. I'm probably going to have to look up. I saw a headline saying that Dave Bautista is saying he won't be back as Drax after the 3rd movie, and he feels that Marvel has dropped the ball on his character and what the character's potential. So, and to see what that's about, that may be worth talking about tomorrow as well.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited to hear about that as well. I mean, Black Knight is one of those characters that people forgot.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those characters that, I think people have not been giving enough credit. Yeah. Credit might not be the right word, but they've not been paying attention to all the different places he's been showing up. And I think they're going to regret it here in the near future. So,
yeah, I think they got
tune in
for the Black Knight.
Mm-hmm. Tune in tomorrow at 5 on the East Coast, 2 on the West Coast. And then Thursday at
9 p.m.
9
Eastern,
on the East Coast, 6 on the West Coast.
Where we'll get you ready for the next episode of The Bad Batch and anything else that comes up.
And then Saturday at 1 on the West Coast, 4 on the East Coast.
Yep.
For Pop Go the Writers with Dan and Paul Story.
Yes. What the hell did we talk about this week?
I don't know, but I got to tell you a story. You're going to be angry at me, but I'm going to tell you anyway. We had to air last week's episode in 2 parts.
Okay.
Because I opened it up in the Dropbox preview and it said it was only an hour. And I'm going, I know he said it was longer than an hour. But I thought maybe you had cut it into 2 or something because there were 2 videos there. So I'm just go live at 5 and we'll be good to go. And I get a text from the associate producers running it going, Kyle, we're like 56 minutes and there's still a lot of video left. I'm going, okay, hit pause. Like find a place where they stop in the conversation, then hit pause. We'll pick it up tomorrow.
I was curious about that because I saw that it ran for an hour and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, that was I got messed up by Dropbox preview. And I won't make that mistake again. But we did run it over 2 days. So
yeah. I need to give you the new one. We talked about The Bad Batch. We talked about Mortal Kombat. We also brought up Jupiter's Legacy.
Ooh, Jupiter's Legacy.
Yes.
I like how everybody on Jupiter's Legacy has Frank Quietly face, which is just this.
I still look at the main character and think that's the worst hair beard combination ever. You know, I mean, if it was just the hair, then Woody Harrelson's wig from the first Venom movie would win. But the combination of that hair and beard is so bad.
It's a little rough.
Yeah.
But again, that's how Frank Quietly drew it. So what can you do?
Good point.
So, that being said, I think we'll call it a night. Dan's been on the air a lot. I've been on the air a lot. This has been In Stores this week. Go to your local comic shop tomorrow. Find your local comic shop by going to comicshoplocator.com, typing in your zip code, and finding a local comic shop near you if you don't already have one. We will be back next week with more In Stores this week. Dan will be back a whole bunch. I'll be back a few times this week. And we will see everybody very, 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 very soon. Stay tuned for information about Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month coming soon from the Experience, as well as another great event that we're planning that we're pulling together at this point as well. Dan, did I forget anything?
Not that I can remember. But we're kind of punchy
All
at
right.
this point. So.
That's true. We are kind of punchy. So we will talk to everybody next time. Thanks for being here, guys. Bye.